I've seen no evidence to suggest that students are not able to complete their courses because they're failing in English yet they're being passed by the universities, she said. I've not seen any evidence to back that up. International education is one of our largest exports. It's our fourth largest export. The brain is divided into its hemispheres by a prominent groove. At the base of this lies nerve fibers which enable these two halves of the brain to communicate with each other. But the left hemisphere usually controls movement and sensation in the right side of the body, while the right hemisphere similarly controls the left side of the body. Astronomers think planets can exist in orbits far from their star, and propose a two-step process. Interactions with the star or inner planets kick it out of the inner system, and then a passing star stabilizes the orbit to keep it bound. Such a scenario could explain the hypothesis Planet 9 in our solar system. As a child, you might dream one day of becoming an astronaut and, the next day, of becoming a ballet dancer. The possibilities are endless. Eventually, this wealth of choice is whittled down by external circumstances and internal interests. Similarly, precursor cells in early embryos make a series of stepwise decisions governed by external forces and internal factors to generate the diverse array of cell types present in adult organisms. Beauty is subjective, and as such it of course cannot be defined in absolute terms. But we all know or feel when something is beautiful to us personally. And in such instances, methods of physics and network science can be used to quantify and help us better understand what it is that evokes that pleasant feeling. New research identifies a process that might have been key in producing the first organic molecules on Earth about 4 billion years ago, before the origin of life. The process, which is similar to what might have occurred in some ancient underwater hydrothermal vents, may also have relevance to the search for life elsewhere in the universe. The most important issue is concerned with the problem of funding. Social services receive different donations or grants from the government. However, these sums are not sufficient for the solution of all problems. The second most important issue consists in the huge spending. Surgical site infections are caused by bacteria that get in through incisions made during surgery. They threaten the lives of millions of patients each year and contribute to the spread of antibiotic resistance. In low and middle-income countries, 11% of patients who undergo surgery are infected in the process. Over time a split would have appeared in wolf populations. He says those wolves that feared humans and those that didn't. So this would have facilitated, I think, the domestication process. At which point humans deliberately took wolves as pets. Since its inception, the UN system has been working to ensure adequate food for all through sustainable agriculture. The majority of the world's poorest people live in rural areas of developing countries. They depend on agriculture and related activities for their livelihoods. As we progress into the 21st century, Communications are becoming faster and faster. Think of the millions of different media images you are bombarded with every day. It is as important now to be able to read and make sense of those images, as it has been to be able to read ordinary text. When we put toast in the toaster or add marshmallows to the top of our sweet potatoes for a baked holiday dish, we expect them to turn brown and to develop a sweet, caramelized flavor. Although we expect it to happen, do you know why certain foods take on these new colors and flavors as they are toasted? Bananas are rich in the mineral potassium. Potassium helps maintain fluid levels in the body and regulates the movement of nutrients and waste products in and out of cells. Potassium also helps muscles to contract and nerve cells to respond. It keeps the heart beating regularly and can reduce the effect of sodium on blood pressure. The evidence for the harmful effects of alcohol on brain health is compelling, but now experts have pinpointed 3 key time periods in life when the effects of alcohol are likely to be at their greatest. The Founding Fathers established constitutional protections for the press because they understood that leaving the watchdog function to partisan politicians wouldn't necessarily serve the public interest. Both sides have too many incentives to preserve the status quo and ignore problems that elude quick fixes. Psychologist Suho Takagi, a graduate student at Kyoto University in Japan, strolls into one of Japan's many cat cafes. These establishments allow customers to pay an hourly fee for the chance to cuddle some cats. They are popular in Japan because so many apartment buildings forbid pet ownership. We understand the importance of supporting and restoring biodiversity, and we are teaming up with the world's leading molecular biologists, technologists, conservation biologists, conservation organizations, ethicists, and thought leaders to call for intended consequences to help us safely use all of the available tools that can provide the advantage we need to turn the tide on species loss. Everyone at some point can feel worried or anxious, homesick or isolated because they don't just fit in. This often happens when you change your location or when changes happen to you, and the truth is that this happens to lots of people, and it's a normal part of life. As introverts are thinking, they reach back into long-term memory to locate information. An introvert will often compare old and new experiences when making the decision, which slows the processing down but leads to carefully thought-out decisions. Hopefully, this will treat and prevent acne and other skin diseases and reduce antibiotic use. Naked Biome is entering clinical trials to see if its approach is safe and effective.